Welcome to the More Than More podcast, where we discuss building meaningful, impactful businesses, careers, and lives through real estate. Welcome back. It is the end of March.
End of March, believe it or not.
Awards Banquet Eve.
It is. You excited?
I'm just going to go.
He likes to be told he's great.
Yeah. He likes to have a
Yes,
microphone
he's
in
very
his hand.
excited.
I just always got excited, even before I had any awards.
Yeah.
Still excited.
That's
like
your,
a kid.
Your intro story was you sitting there with no awards saying, I'm going to win the rookie.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Manifest.
Manifestation.
Well, welcome, guys. I guess I'm a little confused. I just saw on the screen outside, I saw that it's the last time we met, it said February market update. But it was in January, wasn't it?
It definitely was January. Yeah.
Okay. We might have just been looking forward. So this is the March market update. Chris, you said you feel very unprepared.
Well, yeah, you sent us absolutely nothing. I came in, sat down, you guys were making some jokes, and then you turned it on to start.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're feeling good.
Feeling great.
You're
feeling
looking great.
Well,
Sports
thank
card. I feel like I wish we had cameras on right
yeah,
now.
why don't we? We need to get that in for next time.
These
And
microphones work really well.
They're awesome.
Really loud.
Yeah, hopefully they sound good on the other side. But
I'm just going to start with how's it feeling out there? So let me back up. I've got a lot less data today. I really don't think there's that much interesting on the data side. It's kind of hard beginning of the year as well, and everything. A lot of things, rates and all that stuff, feel like it's on hold because of wars and crazy things. So I'm just going to go with the flow here. I've got a handful of questions I'm really interested in. They've really got more to do with what we're experiencing in the market right now. So I'm curious how it's just feeling for you guys. It is officially the beginning of spring. What are we experiencing?
Have you been watching the stock market?
There it is.
I think it feels like the stock market. Like one day it's up, one day it's down, next day it's up, and you really can't get a feel. Like there's no trend. It feels like a spring market, and then one day it's like not much going on. But it's good. Market's hot.
Is that because it's like 90 degrees one day and then it's snowing?
It's like the
it might
weather.
have something to do with
Iowa.
it, for sure, yeah.
I feel like it's a lot of ups and downs, just like the weather, just like stock market.
Is that not just normal spring?
I don't know.
I think
it's
it feels less like spring than it does. No, I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like it's less spring, which I'm dealing with in my own mental issues I have. I feel like it should be busier than what it is. And I feel like our listings should have more buyers buying them than there are,
Yeah.
which we have people looking, but no one is actually buying. So the activity is there, but the motivation, I don't feel like.
I feel like emotions are supercharged right now. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that, but both buyers and sellers, everything. In the last 3 weeks, I feel like I've been through a lot that wouldn't normally go through. That people just out of control.
So what's supercharged looking like? How's that manifesting?
Inspection,
Yeah.
unreasonable inspection requests on either side, unreasonable pricing expectations on either side. Just a lot of too much, I think.
Or just people deciding they don't want to buy a house anymore,
Yeah, for sure.
which we had on one of our listings yesterday, 2 days ago. The agent just said, "Hey, we don't want to buy the house anymore. We're gonna send over a cancellation, get our earnest money back." And we're like, we have a binding contract in place that doesn't necessarily work like that. And he seems still to this day not to understand how a binding contract works. But
we have one of those
Anyway.
too. Same thing.
I've heard several people.
so
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I feel like emotions are high. I feel like we're going in a right direction. Like I feel like I've been busy Q1 with conversations, with meetings, with prepping people. I don't know. I feel like good stuff is selling quickly. Stuff that's subpar to under par is
Sitting for a while.
sitting. I feel like the gap has widened
Yeah.
tremendously. Like there's a huge gap in the middle stuff, in my opinion. That's from the list side, I feel.
I think buyers all the agents need to hear about the buyers, though. We went to an open house last weekend with clients in Ames, and there were 2 open houses around the corner from each other. There were 5 groups of people waiting to get in the door at 1 o'clock.
Oh.
And then while I was there, more are streaming in. And then when I'm leaving, there were 3 more walking up the street, groups.
Yeah.
and they had to park so far away because there was nowhere to park. Yeah. So this is just a sign of how much activity is still to come this year if everything aligns.
Yeah, that's my sentiment is people want to do stuff both on the buy and sell side. People are gun shy a little bit on what to do or what they should do or if now is a good time to do it or not.
I know you guys saw this Ryan Serhant. I don't know if you follow him.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not sure I like the guy.
I haven't really decided either.
Yeah, I'm in
some days I
between.
do, some days I could.
Maybe it's because he wears too many bracelets and rolls up the sleeves of his sports coat, which is something Chris might do. Don't stop. But he was quoted as saying it's nobody's market right now. It's not a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. I think the rest of the quote or the rest of the article said that he believes that this thing could turn super boom for the next 3-5 years, or it could start to be the beginning of a bit of a bust market for the next 3 to 5 years. But nobody's market is where I'm camping. I'm trying to figure out if that's really what's underpinning everything that you guys have just described. Ton of foot traffic, Jason. But people, frankly, just deciding I'm not even sure if I want to act anymore. Tons of inspections falling apart. And everybody's high emotions. Nobody's market, is that what this is?
I like that a lot. I think that describes it very well. Each side thinks that they are entitled, it feels like to me, and that it is a buyer's and seller's market depending on if you're a buyer or a seller, and it's nobody's market.
I think it's shifting. I think buyers are starting to panic already a little bit. I think they're starting to feel like, oh, I better act. We had 3 sellers that have sold houses in the last week that have sat for months, very little activity. All of a sudden, just boom, offer. A couple of them had 2 offers. Super weird. So I think buyers are starting to get educated that they don't have as much control as they did, which is a normal spring market.
As they did when?
All last winter. 3 months?
Yeah. Since our last podcast.
You felt that buyers have had a little more control recently?
Yeah, because they were coming in. There's all these $15,000, $25,000 offers off asking price on a 10-day or less property on the market. They were feeling very bold, and that's starting to go away.
Okay. Even with a little more inventory stacking up?
Yeah, because there's more buyers. I mean,
yeah, and they're lined up outside the property. You're saying, and for the good ones.
Yeah, like we had one this weekend, open house. We had nine groups through that open house, and we did 12 to 2. From 12 to 12:30, I think 7 of those 9 were all in the house at one time.
Yep.
And so we ended up getting an offer out of it, someone who had looked before they came back. But I mean, they came back and there were 6 other groups of people in the house at the same time. And so
you get to see how the house handles a crowd.
Yeah.
It's really good.
You do.
The one with 30 people, at least 30 groups through, they had 7 offers. When we did offer on it, one of the other agents on my team, like I showed it to my people. Someone else had them go through the open house. They offered 10 over, didn't get it. It went like 25 over.
I was going to say 7 offers feels like mispriced in this market. But
it's 365 ranch, like not a big house, only a half bath on the master, like just a normal house, but 365 went
Didn't
closer
Jared
to 400.
say Ames is like the lowest inventory it's almost ever been, though?
Yeah. Ames has got there are 2 different markets, and I think that's a good thing to bring up too.
Yeah.
Ames is still doing crazy things.
I feel like their inventory always shows up late. Their sales curve is much more seasonal, very sharp bell-shaped curve. So I feel like they're always an anomaly. I'll be interested to see if other college towns have similar curves. So I guess what I'm curious about is how much of what you're describing. So I get the notion that buyers are more empowered through the winter. That makes sense. I mean, that feels like normalization to me. That ought to be the case every winter, right? I think. And that we're coming into a spring where buying conditions are largely good. Rates are still relatively competitive, and that now buyers start to compete. That also makes perfect sense because we don't have elevated amounts of inventory, and we don't have, again, it's nobody's market. So I guess what I'm curious about is like how much of this emotional tension do you think is what the rest of the year looks like, or does it start to break one way or the other? That's a projection question, right? So where do you think it goes, Jason?
I think the rates are going to be impactful. They were all the way down to I was like at the last pot. I'm like, we're going to be at 5.5 and we're going to camp there. Well, we touch it and then we take
wore.
off.
Then we wore.
Yeah, then we go bomb somebody. Like we talked about that too. Like, what if we go to war? Well,
This is the problem with projections. Is this
Can't factor in everything.
everything was perfect though. Like it was going to happen.
you can't factor in Trump.
Yeah, there's a Trump factor.
No, Trump factor, you're not going to
Just
figure out.
never know.
100%. So now you have there are some signs that some people have some anxiety with oil prices, with stock market, with 401k stuff like. So that causes anxiety in people's brains, and some people are affected, some aren't. The big thing is rates though, and buying power goes out the window. Like when you go from 5.5 to 6.5, like it changes things for people. They were approved, they were excited, they had a house, and then now I didn't lock in my rate, so I'm kind of host.
Well, and I think this is a weird thing, but like I think if we go bomb Iran and gas prices stay the same, I don't think it changes buyers' mentality. But when they drive up and down the street and they see that gas is $1 plus more than what it was,
We're pretty fickle.
I think
It's all
that literally
speculation.
I mean, it literally tells people, oh,
The world's a
the
scary
world's
place.
terrible.
Yeah.
And so, like, I really think, because there's terrible stuff that goes on all the time, but when gas is $2 a gallon, people think the world's great. But then it's all of a sudden, that went up to $3.50 or $3.40, whatever. And that means everything in the world's going to go up. That means our world's falling apart. And
That's one of the most.
maybe they're right, but
It's one of the most tangible ways that it affects people's lives is
Yes.
gas prices.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
And
what we're,
affordability is what I go back to there. Affordability of that.
this is like a geopolitics conversation now, and that's not irrelevant because it is driving what's going on. I guess what I'm trying to get to in my own brain is what you're experiencing, just the early implications of a nobody's market. And prices are in this weird nobody's land, and motivation isn't pushing buyers into crazy space yet. There's a standoff. We've talked about the standoff. Spring is sprunging. Spring.
I think that's very wrong.
That's wrong.
Very wrong.
Spring has sprung.
It's not sprunging for sure.
It's in the process of being sprung. Is that better?
Yeah, way better.
Thank you. And the fundamentals are that, look, temporarily, yes, gas prices are high. There's some bombing going on. And so I think you're totally right. Buyer psychology is very, very quickly and heavily impacted by that. And we think that we're very rational creatures, but mostly we just make decisions emotionally. And the notion of buying a house could definitely be put on the back burner if we're not feeling safe. We just want to keep things normal at home. All that I grant. At the same time, at some point we stop bombing Iran. At some point, gas prices go back to normal. At some point, we go back to, okay, this is the world that we're living in. And I'm interested in, like, is this, well, I don't think the standoff lasts forever. And it feels like, other than that present geopolitical impact that we're experiencing, I'm still of the opinion that we're coming into a very strong, stable, steady, healthy environment with competitive, although not amazing rates, with high prices, but not unattainable, with affordability that started to slowly soften. So I'm still marginally optimistic, I guess, about the year. What do you feel?
I think you have to be even more than marginally. You have to be out of your chair excited because despite the headwinds that we've just listed, when you look at rates and you look at affordability and you look at everything that should be crushing the market right now with what's going on overseas, and to have as much activity as we actually have, like, how much is there? There's got to be a lot because some are on the sidelines right now. And it's still, like, I'm not down this year. I don't think you're down this year.
No, you're up.
I don't know.
I
where you're
have
at.
no idea. I think I'm up, according to Jamie.
I was
but
I was not having a good year at this time last
It's
year,
bad
so
comparison.
it wasn't that hard to be up. But
Yeah. Like
My last year was, my last Q1 was good. And this year, I feel like right now, though, is like when I look at my projections, that's where I'm like, that's why I feel like March has been so slow because I'm like, what's to come? But I feel like my Q1 was fairly good.
Chris, last quarter, you were hiding under your bed eating Twizzlers and Twinkies
excuse me,
for about 3 or 4 months.
that is false. Patently false. Maybe you mean last year? This
last
time?
quarter, last year, this.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
See,
It was a rough start to the year.
I'm just saying it's a bad comparison to look at your quarter of the
Twizzlers
previous
and
year.
Twinkies.
No, but he's on. your top 10 right now?
Close, yeah.
Yeah, top.
No,
Let's go.
and company wide, we're up a handful of agents, but we are notably up on sides and GCI, and pendings are happening, and so I'm not seeing any indication that the market's slow. I do agree, though. The reason we talked about inspections a week ago at team meetings is because we are seeing a lot of tension in that space. We are seeing, I guess I'm seeing nobody's market. So not to give the guy with all the bracelets credit, but I think he's right. I just don't know that stays that way.
I feel like a month from now, if gas prices go back down to just under $3 a gallon or whatever, and it's not so top of mind for people, I think the market takes off.
And if the rates maybe dip back a little bit to where they were, closer to where they were.
One of the things that I would like to know is where are we sitting with new construction versus resale? Inventory, you're saying, is creeping up, but it feels like when I look at what's for sale, it's a lot of new construction.
Yeah,
we were down to like 40% or something was all the new construction or something, 40 or 45%. For a long time, we were like over 55% of the inventory was new construction. So I don't know where we're at now.
We don't have any of that data, so it's a good conversation to have.
We'll have data next round. I'm intentionally staying away from it right now because I just don't think it's fruitful, to be perfectly honest. I think we're at a place where there is tension, but I think it self-resolves. Like the trees start to bud, the snow's all gone, energy changes.
People get happier.
Yes, they do, and wars go away. And I think that I just personally still believe that we're on very fertile soil. After 3 years of muted sales, I'm pretty sure that I don't think there's a big crazy boom happening this year, but everything I'm seeing is we're going to have a very fun year selling real estate. I am interested, shifting topics for a second, just into what we're experiencing on the challenges side, and I want to do these one at a time. So can you guys help me with what are buyers' biggest challenges right now, if you were to list those off? What are your buyers experiencing that's making this particular environment a challenge?
I'm going to go with house, like just finding the house that they want. It's simply that. The resale market is tight. The homes are in the affordable range, the 300 to 400. I mean, there's just nothing exciting out there. So they're looking at these houses and they're rejecting the house. They're not rejecting the concept of buying a home.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, if I have to come up with something different, I would. But like no, it's the same thing. Like my pipeline is probably the most full it's been with buyers in
that just aren't finding what they want,
and they're just not finding, or they're not excited enough to pull the trigger on what they want to buy, and it's
much more picky environment than 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so I don't know if that comes down to just that really you don't need to do anything, which is part of it, or you just can't actually find something, or the affordability side of things. Yeah. I'm not willing to pay this much for this thing. And so, but I've even had, like, I have one guy, he was up to 400,000, found out he can't find anything he wants in that fits what he's looking for. And we go up to 450 in Ankeny, and there's still only like the houses that are available for a reason.
Yeah.
Like they're still available because of something, and
they're woody.
The good ones sell quick and the other ones don't.
Yeah.
That's the tale of two markets, or two sets of inventory. There's stuff sitting and it's needing price reductions, and then other stuff still flying off the shelves. I don't know why my brain went here, but it went to American Eagle jeans. When I'm buying American Eagle jeans, I'm like, yeah, if they fit just fine, it's good. But if I'm buying a pair of like diesel jeans, I'm like, they got to be right.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're at. Is stuff's not out of our capacity to afford. It's just you're paying a bit of a premium. And if you're going to be paying that premium and there's really no imminent urge, then I guess the tension makes sense on the buy side. So I heard two things. One is a lack of amazing inventory. I think the spring solves some of that as churn starts to happen more, right? Good stuff shows up in the spring and not the winter. And then secondly, affordability slowly but surely, especially if rates do come down just another notch, that also sort of self-cures.
I would say it's important to have conversations with buyers. Some of these buyers have shown houses for like a year. And I would say going into the spring now, especially if they started last fall or winter, my conversation with them last fall or winter was, hey, you can probably get this at 95% or 96, whatever, 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand off the price. Like, if you find something in the springtime here in the next 3-4 months,
especially if it's fresh to market.
Yeah, if it's on the market, like, so the conversations with your buyers that if you had them at the end of last year and now you still have them and they haven't found anything, like we got to prep our people. Hey, you're probably not getting a deal on a good thing. Now, if the house has still been on the market 90 days, then you might be able to, but new stuff, like the conversation we had about getting 10 to 20 grand off pricing, off of prices isn't probably the thing.
It raises the question for me about investors, and all of which you are. I mean, every one of you, I think, are in various ways purchasing real estate. I just wonder if there are even more deals to be had than on that stagnant inventory.
I'd like to think so, but I've also written on some stuff that's been sitting on the market for quite a while, and sellers are still like, no.
Yeah, seller motivation's not. I know you're probably getting to sellers, but seller motivation a lot of times isn't there either. I don't have anything
even if
to
they've
add.
been sitting for 180 days. You got nothing to add on buyers?
No, nothing. I like what they had to say.
That's the first time you've ever agreed with a whole bunch of people at one time.
The advice that I've had that I think is valuable for people listening is that we were slow playing some of our negotiations, taking days where you can't do that anymore. And if you're going to sit through this next 2 months and try to negotiate and think that you can do, and we'll get another $5,000, like that $5,000 may not be worth it right now because their chances have gone dramatically higher that there's going to be another offer.
I have had 2 interest rate conversations in the last week with buyers that have been looking for the last couple months, and now they started, and where they are now, it's half a point to a whole point higher, which has been an issue.
So they wait.
Yeah.
They're going to wait for lower rates
Yeah, that's what they say.
and higher prices.
I'm not as good as convincing people to buy as you are, Jason.
I feel like that was a cut down. I thought we were supposed to keep it above the belt.
No, it was a compliment.
I think you choose how you want to internalize that, and you could make that a compliment.
It was meant as a compliment for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, sellers. Challenges for sellers.
Sellers still want their house to sell in 3 days or less and for all the money or more. And they're, unfortunately, they won't always agree to price it that way. And so you go in 20 grand high and wonder why we don't have all the people looking at it. And that goes back to what we saw this weekend. 2 really fine homes, different styles, great houses, priced well. And then they get even more. They go over asking. And so that reality is still there, but getting people to price it right on the front side is hard. Because I think they have gold.
I think the pricing is hard all around. I mean, for sellers and for agents, and just like you think you price something right, even if they do agree to you, and you're like, okay, why is this still not selling? The one down the street just sold last week. So I feel like there's more buyers coming out now, but I feel like coming off the last couple months, it's been like there might have been that one buyer for that one area, and that house goes, and then all of a sudden this one goes up, and it's like, and this isn't the same scenario, but we have one in Polk City. I think it's one of the best deals in the whole town. Actually, 2 in Polk City now, after we dropped the one price today. But they're going to be great deals, and you can't find a house like it, but it's been sitting on the market for 3-4 months. And people come and look, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's a nice house. We're just, we're not ready, or
So
we're
by
going to go buy something.
Is it not overpriced then?
By definition.
You don't feel
by
like it is.
definition, in my eyes, yes. But to a seller, when they're looking and saying, hey, I'm the best thing by far there is out here, and I would actually agree with this one seller, and I'm telling them to drop the price because at the end of the day, if something doesn't sell, it's because of the price. And then it comes down to motivation from your seller, and if they're really not that motivated, then they're going to sit there and wait for the one right person that hopefully comes along. But I feel sellers are pricing right, and actually pricing according to what's currently on the market versus comps is, I think, way more important right now. Like what your competition is more important than what's sold.
I've preached this for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Don't price on sold, price on active competition.
Yeah.
I feel like the expectations are still way out of whack from what happened in that 2 or 3 year period where everyone was posting sold in a day. I think we're still living in that space with some of the sellers that are selling now, that they have that expectation that this is going to go up and it's going to sell for what I want it to, and it's going to sell quickly.
And it's because this thing is teetering between a buyer's and a seller's market, and it's nobody's market. And so there's no forces large enough on either side to break the will or the interests of either party.
And these sellers do have these friends that are putting their house on the market and they're selling with 7 offers in 2 days.
There's enough evidence to say that it can still happen. That,
right.
Yeah, you might as well keep hoping.
For sure.
And it's timing too. I mean, Ethan, back to your story, it's a trick question, right? Like for selling in the next week, it's overpriced. For selling in the next 4 months, who knows? It seems like it could be fine. It depends. It depends on what else comes on the market. For selling in the next year, it's probably great. It's just a question of how much time do you actually have to get it done.
Yeah, and I think it's important for sellers to not overprice in this market. Going back to Jason's point, I don't underprice properties on purpose, but I honestly think for sellers right now, one of the best things you can do is price your house on the lower end. If you really want to sell that thing and have the best chance to sell it for the max price, list it on the lower side. And if it happens to be 15 grand, 10 grand under price or price too low that the market says that, you're going to end up with 7 offers and end up over that. I just think if you overprice right now, you're going to struggle.
Are you saying pick the price to sell in a week price?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
My advice is like either you're going to sell it in the first week for all the money. If it's truly worth more, you're going to get it. The market will work. Yep. And if it doesn't bring it in the first 2 weeks, like, well, that was still too high. So what are you out?
That's not as true in January as it is in March, April.
I would disagree. It's not as true in November or December, but in January, February, March, like the market's ready.
Spring starts in January.
People start looking at January.
So, okay, but can I just, you agree with the concept of my point that
depends on the time of year, and we're in that time of year.
Your point, though, is we are in that time, and right now, that's bad thinking. So price for the selling a week price.
Price aggressively
and
let
what
the
I'm
market
also,
dictate.
And I'm hearing you say that the market's getting you your full price plus whatever.
On everything we're listing right now, that's right, yes.
Nice. It has to be nice.
Multiple offers, and you're getting above asking price on some?
We're not getting multiple offers on all of them, but they're all selling in that week or two.
Okay.
Unless we messed up, and we have one that listed at 225 when we said 200. Like, guess what? Not selling.
I think that's a really good nugget for everybody. So, because it's nobody's market, and let's call it bifurcated. There's 2 markets. There's inventory sitting and inventory selling. It is prudent to price aggressively at this point, even though sellers still are seeing that kind of activity. It's that positioning that's procuring that kind of activity.
And I was just going to say that. So that's the conversations you have with sellers is, hey, yeah, the house down the street did have 4 offers on it, but in my opinion, that house was listed at 10 grand under what the actual market value was being. If they would have listed 10 grand higher, they might have ended up with no offers or with just 1 offer.
It'd be good to have not anecdotal, but like evidential, like examples of that. Here's this one. It's actually just as nice, but look where it started, look where it is, and here's this one that's sold.
Yep. So
what you looking for?
I have to.
You're just doing business. You're selling houses while we're doing this.
Okay.
I love it. Okay. Any more on sellers on what they're struggling with?
I think that's just to summarize what you said there a little more is that
You
I told
improve?
those.
You can improve on what I said.
I just am going to say that I told those folks at the hot open house while we're standing out there watching people come in. I said, guys, this is the hard part for a seller. You see that house at $365. I see that house and say it's going to be $25,000 to $50,000 more. And so until you, on your first visit out with somebody, to hear you say something crazy like that, it's very difficult to earn trust and to sell homes.
For sure.
But what happened was it sold for 25 grand more and there were 7 offers. And so everything I told them came true. Next time that I go show them a house, if I tell them it's a great deal, it's a great deal. If I tell them it's overpriced, it's overpriced.
They have to
if I tell them
experience
it's
it
going to be
first.
10 grand more, they're going to believe me. And again, you just have to do enough outings with people to get them to trust you. And you have to be right, which I was.
This time.
Every time. It's hard to believe.
No, I mean, this is what you do for a living, and you do a lot of it. I imagine you're more right than most, and I guess people are paying you for honest insight and advice. You're a trusted advisor. So it is a little bit putting your neck out, right? But I think that's what we're paid for. They want your opinion. And I love that you're right 100% of the time. That's a terrific skill.
Feels good.
How about agents? Same question for agents. So I'm an agent in the marketplace right now. What's the biggest challenge doing what you do? Chris, you have to start because
No, I'm not starting.
because these guys keep
I rolled in late. I'm trying to play off of these guys.
okay.
Jeez.
I think lead follow up.
I
The longer
agree.
these
Wow.
people sit, the longer they sit in your pipeline, you can't forget about them because they are going to buy, and they will buy something. And if you don't follow up with them, it used to be you got a buyer, you went and showed them 5 houses, you knew they were all going to be gone, they were going to buy one of them, or even 10 houses. Now it's like, oh yeah, we'll go show 5 houses. You might not hear from them for a week and a half, and then they're like, oh yeah, there's 3 more that I want to look at. Then you don't hear from them for a week and a half, or then they just go cold altogether. And the agents who are not going to follow up with those people are going to lose them to someone at an open house, to
really
someone
good.
who has a buyer agent. Like, you have to follow up with your pipeline right now. Otherwise, you're not in the path of business when it comes. And
Before
they're
you
gonna buy.
jump in, Jason, I just want you to know Chris was going to say this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. This is why I like to be prepped, Dylan. I like to have some kind of preparation.
Every one of these people that Ethan's talking about are another ball that you are juggling. And you can only juggle so many balls, and you are going to drop balls. And so he is nailing a good point. And we're battling this with our new system too. Is like we have too many balls, and so we're juggling them and dropping them. And that's my whole job right now is to keep up on that and try to encourage people to do more follow up, do more phone calls, talk to these people, and find out what. My analogy is, how do you stretch the box? Because we get in a little painted little corner. They think we think they know what they want. Turns out they would buy a house 20 miles away if the right house came up. So we need to constantly be talking to these people and stretching the box and opening up doors on what they would buy.
Which is a skill that a lot of agents have just totally either forgotten or never learned because for the last 5 years they've been in an imminent, like immediate action market.
Yeah, what I talk to our agents about quite often is, and comes from Dylan, I guess, just over the years, but like just the persuasion, not persuasion in a negative way, but persuasion in a positive way, getting buyers to realize what they think they want isn't actually necessarily what they want. So by asking the right questions, by probing, by, I guess, stretching the box, it's a good one. By stretching the box more, you can actually get people to realize, oh, I would be happy in X, Y, Z, and I can still get a house that works well for my family. And it doesn't have to be this criteria that's such down to the, like, how many people out there want to buy acreages? And they look for 5 years, and they're like, okay, well, and people actually that want to buy acreages don't even know what it takes to buy an acreage, and it sucks to maintain and all that stuff. So why not just find a nice lot in town that has some seclusion? Like, would that work? So being able to get people to actually realize that they are okay with something different than what they've told you for the last year because they can't find it, or like there's multiple reasons. And I mean, I do it all the time. I told myself the first house I'll ever buy, I'll never own a 2-story house. I'm only going to buy a ranch style house. And the first 2 houses I ever bought were 2 stories. And I didn't get a ranch until my 3rd house. And so it's like people will, you can stretch the box with people to get them to understand. Now, you're not there to try to convince them to buy something if they don't want to buy it, but I do think people don't know what they don't know. They don't know that, oh, it's actually not that bad to drive 15 minutes into work versus 5 or whatever if I found the right house.
Everyone starts out with perfect world, and then they somehow come back to reality. So,
And your job
some it takes a week to get there, some it takes 5 years.
but we can speed that up.
I know a bunch that have never landed.
Yeah,
You're one of those people, aren't you?
he's having trouble landing.
You mean
this
like
time.
in my housing needs?
Yeah.
I've never landed. I'm still looking for a unicorn. But I prefer the word. We're counselors and psychologists and advisors. So rather than persuasion, I think it's you use the word realize. I like the idea that our job is to help them self-identify and self-realize what they're actually looking for versus how they've currently boxed that. So stretch the box works really well too.
And you're trying to speed up, but you have to slow down because you're going to get there faster than they are. And so how do you back up and catch up with where they are right now and bring them along the path with you?
Without feeling like you're steering them towards something that's the opposite of what they said they wanted.
It has to be their idea.
My biggest challenge right now is, it sounds cliche, but it's systems. I feel like most of the time I can kind of half-ass systems a little bit as the year goes on, but in a season like now when I'm pretty much the busiest I've ever been, it feels like, my systems are not dialed in, and everything's in my head, and I get down and I sit at 8 o'clock in the morning and I have to pick things out of my head.
So you're juggling, and all the balls are falling. They catch as many as you can in this season.
That's exactly right.
Is that
It is not a good way to live, I'll say that.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is building the systems now is, this is why we're constantly beating that drum. You got to build the machine.
It's tough for me right now because as a rule, I'm not satisfied. And then Zillow's never satisfied because they're a corporation. So now it's like,
you're not satisfied with
I'm
what?
being put anything. So
anything in life.
So now to be pushed by this corporation on top of my lack of satisfaction, it's really tough.
Yeah, what's it like working for Zillow these days?
It's great. I applied. I was hired. I have a new job. They haven't sent me.
It's called ball juggling.
They need me to send me a hat at least or something. A Zillow shirt maybe.
No, you just give them. Just give. It's all give.
I will give.
I guess you do research.
It makes me think of what was a year ago that we put out a little mini series, maybe 18 months, about listing management. We said, hey, you guys have lost the skill of actually guiding your listings over a 3 to 6 month period of time. It's been 10 years. You need to learn the skill. What you're all saying is, man, we're feeling the same thing now about buyers.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, the last 2 years have taught me a lot about how to better serve sellers. And so now, over time, and so now, maybe the God telling me
the buyer process was really straightforward. It was house hits the market, you go, you make a decision, yes or no. And now it's like Ethan said, you show 3 houses to someone, they kind of hem and haw for a few days, they go quiet, then they come back 2 weeks later and they're like, there's another couple we want to see. It's just a different process.
Well, and you, okay, you called that straightforward. My experience is a little longer than yours, right?
Yeah.
So I remember before that, I view what you guys went through for the last 10 years as anything but straightforward. I think it was the most tumultuous, chaotic, and uncontrolled market that, especially as it related to buyers.
Sure.
You were reactive to the nth degree. So
but you knew how it went at least.
Well, you knew how it went because that's how you learned to sell. But what I'm suggesting is that I actually think this is a better environment. You're just it takes different tools. You're going to have to develop the tools of long-term incubation, and you're going to have a better system for it.
Well, that's what I just said. My
100%.
systems suck.
Why are we disagreeing when we're agreeing?
All right.
Or just sell. Like, why don't you just develop the skill of selling them faster?
Here we go. Jason, persuasion.
See, this is what I said earlier that you jumped on me for, but you obviously have it.
Thank you.
For a guy wearing a sport coat, you're very defensive today.
Defense attorney.
I love
About to walk out of here.
It comes through the way. No, I actually think that you could do that. You could develop your systems and your incubation, but where I watch people, I think, struggle unnecessarily is because they spend too much time waiting for the client to take them to the house, and they let them find the 2 or 3 houses. And if you want to step into my world for a second, like, you tell me what you want, I'm going to show you your house. Like, here, you can send me 3, but you're going to buy the one I sent you because I heard you, I know you better than you know you, and you're going to buy that one. Then they're off my plate, and I'm ready to go on to the next one.
I got nothing. Everyone's looking at me. I don't know what to say.
I'm waiting for the rebuttal.
I don't have a rebuttal. I think that's great if you have that skill set. I don't know that I possess that same set of skills that you have.
The passivity with which, okay, so you go back 15 years, 20 years, we had an MLS book. They came to us. We paged through the book and we selected properties for them. It was an art, and it was something we did because we had controlled the data. At some point, we give the keys of the data over to Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. The buyer takes over the search process. And we all think, first of all, we complain about it, but then we learn that this is the new protocol. Look at they conduct. So we train ourselves to preload with that. We say, hey, the way it works is you look around, you search, you find, and then you let me know which ones you want to see. And we did that so that we didn't feel like we were losing our value, right? We were like, no, it's normal for you to find them. But what's happened slowly over time is that, we've just given total control of the vehicle over to the buyers. And the truth is that what they're looking for, LRC, leadership, relationship, creativity, what you're describing, Jason, can be heard as too salesy. But with trust, with guidance, and with once they go through the first time and they realize, wait, you were actually right, what they're actually looking for is someone to say, hey, here's the 3 or 4 I suggest you look at first. And here's why. And so I think you're right. I think it's a skill set that we've lost. At the same time, we've got to recognize that they're going to constantly be conducting their own search. And I think Compass and Zillow and this whole fight, I think trying to gain back the data and have them search on our websites, to be honest, I think that's an asinine notion.
Agreed.
I don't care where they search. But I do think that we can do a better job of, I don't know what that fist bump was, but
we agreed at the same time. So we air fist bumped.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't care where they search. But to Jason's point, I think we could do a better job of taking ownership and control of the journey. And the value that they want is for us to say, that one, I'm going to recommend we don't start with that one. Let's go look at this. And here's why. And I think that's what they're paying us for. And what you're saying, Jason, is when you do that, actually, the lifespan of the buyer purchasing cycle actually can be truncated.
Yeah, we still speak baseball, and we talk about how fast can you get around the bases. And there's no winning by going slow. No one runs to the first base slowly. Like, you need to do it quickly. And the faster you do it, the faster your buyer will get to the offer and the inspection and the home plate. So,
any other challenges? I think it's a very unique market, and that's why I'm going this route.
I still see mindset, and again, maybe it's just the world that I live in with the phone calls that I take, and I think Dylan can appreciate that. But like, I deal with the problems, I hear the problems, and then I watch people like almost suffer a setback from the problem, and the problem needs to be dealt with and moved on from. Like, I like to relate to a goldfish. Short memory works better in sales. Hit the problem, deal with it, and then move on. And because it's just, we don't have time. It's not a good use of time.
I'm going to ask our team to clip that little section, and I'm going to have it recorded on my phone for our next phone call if you ever get stuck on a problem.
So we tell our
that's
what we tell our defense in football is you need to be a goldfish, have a brain like a goldfish.
Ethan and I had a problem. I don't even remember it.
Yep.
Forgot about it.
We're men. We all have memories like goldfish.
We did.
Yeah. I think that's right. I also think, though, like, the amount of like buyer search stuff, the amount of postcards, the amount of times I've posted or asked other agents for, like, I have these 10 buyer needs and come up still with 0 because nobody's listing anything that's in certain pockets is crazy to me, actually.
That's
like,
somewhat of a response to Jason.
Stretch the box.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like you can go out and try to find the properties for them, which is what I normally try to do.
But if it's not inside their imagination or their
no, if it just doesn't exist, like
that's where
no agent has it, no homeowner is selling that product or whatnot, and so that goes back to
Well, and the good news on that is that's what the spring does. Is the spring brings inventory that otherwise doesn't tend to surface because we live in a bowl-shaped curve, and this is when the magic happens. So,
which I think is what. I feel like that's what a lot of my buyers in the winter months, because most people aren't needing to buy, and like my people aren't needing to buy in the winter. Some do need to buy, but others are like, okay, well, these options right now suck. I'm sure there will be more options in the spring. Mm-hmm. The problem is with those more options come more buyers, comes paying higher price. But I guess like we've had those conversations, so if they're fine with it, then it's mostly about the
choose your suffering.
Yeah. Do you want it?
Yeah.
It's like I had the conversation, well, maybe we don't want to buy right now because the market's too hot, but they have a house to sell. I'm like, well, you got to understand, you're going to get more for your home
trade-off, yeah.
And then if you think you're going to outweight this and pay less for the house you want to buy, guess what? Your house is worth less too. It's just, you can't get ahead.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's actually a lot of good.
Did we cover all your notes?
Good insight. I got very few notes. I got one final question, and it's just updates on projections for the remainder of the year. So the first one on just sides is really the Chris Tattoo question. 414141 is where we've been for 3 years. I'm talking about single family, non-new construction. Sorry. Yeah, this is single family, non-new construction. So
Yeah.
if 4.1 was the number, if 4.5 was the goal, at 4.500001, Chris gets a tattoo. My question is, what's your projection in terms of where we're at now? How's the year looking?
Well, based on his defensiveness about the tattoo, I'm starting to think we have a shot.
Okay.
We don't have a shot. The only projection that I saw, the only data point that I've seen is that January was the slowest
Correct.
in terms of sales that we've ever had on recorded record.
No, not maybe.
It was
ever, but it was definitely a slow.
Yeah.
But it also happened to be because there was like massive snowstorms throughout the entire nation.
It could be.
And a war.
Then we have a war the month after.
That hurts.
Well, that helps
helps
me.
you.
I need more wars, I guess.
Yeah. I think we're kicking the can down the road, and that the business is still coming this year, and that you are getting a tattoo. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
I think end of Q2, Q3 is going to be busy.
we're going to see a boom.
You also have to look at like where I'm at nationally. I think the rest of the country had a pretty good start in January, February.
I actually did see that. Like,
What do you
with
mean?
where we're at nationally compared to where we were at nationally last year.
You're
like,
behind.
we're
Like
behind.
you're
The
behind.
rest of the country kicked off way harder, way faster than we did. And I will catch them.
You guys need to do better, I guess.
I will catch them, but they launched and we didn't. So we feel like maybe it's not that good, but I don't know.
It's very anecdotal. I think country-wise, we're behind and we're not getting anywhere close to that number. But
You're feeling good.
I'm feeling good about my own business, and I'm also feeling good about the
getting a
tattoo
tattoo.
situation.
Next time we meet, I'll have data on our current trajectory for pace for
Thank you.
nationwide
And
sites.
year over year numbers.
And I think at that point we can probably start working on designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Rates. Any rates projections?
We're going to go back to 5.5 when the war's over.
Okay, so it's just
May.
temporarily being.
I agree with that.
May.
May? Everything's going to be
I
great
hope
in May.
by May 1st.
Okay.
I'm going to have a May Day basket.
We were
On
there.
my- on
Like,
my
I was
front
ready to
step
have this.
that says 5% interest rate.
But what's interesting is at 5.5, when it dipped down that low for a period of time, it's not like the wheels came off and things went crazy. It was still the same rate of sale, wasn't
It's
it?
a good number.
It
It's not-
It felt
triggered,
faster to me.
triggered buyers to have more urgency.
The
which is-
activity that you've been dealing with now is from buyers who got off their seat when it went to 5.5. And now some of them are having second thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
fair
because
enough.
we
I
are in
feel
a
like-
war and
I feel like there's rate fatigue. I think people are past it and don't care.
I think as long as it doesn't go back up to 7, I think we'll be fine because we've been fine the last, well, I guess nationally we've been down, but
I think we get to 7 before we get to 5.5. I'll say that.
Well, I like that.
Oh,
That's-
boy.
I think
that's
you're
another
right.
clip.
I mean, we're not done going up. I mean, the 10 years going up every day right now, and
yeah.
you could be right.
Yeah.
But
Thank
I
you.
still think we're going to 5.5 pretty quick.
And then I think that one's all back to geopolitics, like how long oil is impacted, and because that's driving some degree of temporary inflation, and so they're holding off on dropping rates because of that. I mean, so there's just so much weird stuff going on right now that's really not part of the long-term narrative, but is impacting our felt experience today. I was going to ask about price and appreciation, but I'm not even sure it's that important. I think it's relatively muted right now, and it's probably going to stay that way. Yes, no, any disagreement there?
I agree.
3 to 4%. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty flat, maybe.
Okay. Well, I think that's a lot of good ground. I think it's a small, just little, we'll call this a benchmark recording. We're just touching base, and we'll see you guys in a couple months, and we'll see how things are shaping up. I'll let you close out with just words of wisdom. And Chris, you're lost. Okay, we're giving you as much prep time as we possibly can on this.
Yeah.
So we're expecting something profound from you, Jason. You're first. Ready to go?
Stretch the box. Speed it up.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to nurture your database. Nurture.
Going back to the Goldfish thing, bouncing back from intense negotiations, inspections has been hard for me lately. So it's advice to give to everybody, but to myself as well.
What's the advice?
The advice is
Be a
to
goldfish.
stay level-headed and forget about your problems and move on to the next one.
Don't let your problems bleed over to your clients because then they become way bigger problems.
Yeah, compartmentalize the situations you're going through. And
I really like this, Chris. This is good.
get out of here. I'm leaving.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today. For more episodes, resources, and show notes, head to morethanmorepodcast.com.